This is the Weebill 3, and I would say Zhiyun kind of went back to the basics for this model, and I'm all for it. It's taken on a more familiar gimbal form, the traditional style one-handed stabilizer. But there are optional accessories to build it up as a two-hander, one of which is a wrist rest to alleviate some of that weight pressure. Wow! But the Weebill series has always been known for its small stature that can support heavy setups. Obviously not dedicated cinema camera heavy setups, but a mirrorless DSLR setup with a 24-70 f2.8 lens. Now, if you're not familiar with the Weebill series, it's designed for practically most creators who want to take it up a notch, especially those who are doing higher end YouTube videos, wedding films, run and gun productions, etc. If you've been following my nomadic journey for the last year, I'd still prefer the Crane M3 for travel, just because it's obviously much smaller and lighter. In my review for it, I did say using a full frame setup would be pushing it, and you will need to throw in some warp stabilizer to your footage. Otherwise, it works fine for me, no complaints there. But for pro work, I would have to prefer the Weebill 3 for its much stronger and more reliable motors. I was filming a big passion project in Singapore. I won't review what it is yet, but the Weebill 3 has been immensely helpful in helping me get establishing shots and tracking shots, which you'll be looking at this entire video. Now, if you're coming from the original Weebill series, you will immediately notice that it lost its awkward duck shape. We're back to a more standard, typical one-handed gimbal look, which I really appreciate, with the exception of the little stout at the end. However, it still has an easier time to fit into my Peak Design backpack. Now, the stout may look like a stand, but it's not, so please use the provided mini tripod. It's meant to add comfort when doing low angle shoots to prevent slippage. Now, speaking of adding comfort, there are optional accessories to make using slim mode more ergonomic. We have a wrist rest, which I initially thought was a snack holder, and what appears to be a handle that typically comes with your tripod fluid head. These will be part of a combo kit for $529 US. Now, typical in the Weebill series, it uses the Manfrotto 501 PL plate. There's also another quick release system at the top here, so you don't have to rebalance your setup when you need to swap out your batteries. Another thing that I really appreciate is the magnetic wrench that sits right under here, which is nice and convenient to screw on and off the plate. Now, what's interesting here is that they went back on the OLED menu display. With the Weebill 2, that has a full touch display to navigate the gimbal menu, but with the Weebill 3, they kind of regress back to the analog navigation. It doesn't bother me a whole lot, as I can still fine-tune my parameter settings on the gimbal itself, rather than be forced to Bluetooth to my phone to do it, although this whole process here is not going to be as robust as with the 2. Now, Zhiyun states the Weebill 3 has a 21-hour runtime, which is quite impressive, big improvements over the Weebill 2, which only had 9 hours. However, like the Weebill 2, the battery is not removable, which is unfortunate. It would take roughly about 2 hours to fully charge the gimbal, and it does support power delivery fast charging. In my personal experience with it, I was able to go roughly 10 hours with it, and still had about 50% left over by the end of the day. So what else is new? We now have light integration, which is bicolor with a peak brightness of 1000 lumens, and a built-in mic right here in the front. Now, it's supposed to save you from having to mount a shotgun mic at the top as noise canceling and cardioid pattern recording. Though I would still suggest investing in a wireless lav mic system like the Rode Wireless Go 2. They're small and low profile and does not take up much additional weight, and you'll get the best audio from your subject. At the end of the day, is it worth getting or upgrading to? This is a mid-range gimbal for mid-range setups at a mid-range price. If what you have still works for you, I'd say stick to it. But if it's time for a new gimbal, I'd say definitely check out the Weebill 3. Squarespace is an all-in-one platform to create beautiful websites. No coding knowledge necessary. Perfect for folks like me who just wants to create YouTube videos for you guys. Simply select from their many easy drag and drop templates and start customizing. Whether it's for your business, create a portfolio, or an e-commerce store, design it with Squarespace. Use my code down below for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, the same code will save you 10% off your first website or domain. Thanks for listening and supporting the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.